Let's see what this 357 Magnum does on a watermelon. That didn't prove much, but that was fun to do. I love old classic Smith and Wesson double action revolvers. I've had a bunch of them. 25 years ago, they started putting that internal lock in their guns, and I quit buying them. I've never bought a Smith and Wesson revolver since they've done that. Well, they finally started releasing a few models without the internal lock, and this is a Smith and Wesson Model 19 Classic no lock. It's got some real similarities to the original, but it's also different in a lot of ways. Let me show you what I do like about this gun and what I don't like about it. This gun is real easy to control shooting at double action. I've only got 4 of these steel plates. Somebody stole 2 of them, but let me show you guys how these shoot. I've got just some 158 grain 38 special right now, and let me run through these plates a few times at 45 feet. I got ready to do this review today, so I went to town and couldn't hardly find any 357 Magnum ammo to load, so I did find these Hornady FTX 140 grain bullets, and that really was all I could find for this review, but let's see how they do. All right, those were 38 special loads. Let's see what these 357 Magnum full house loads will do shooting double action. They got a little more bite to them, but they really don't feel bad at all. So this gun will handle stout recoil pretty good. How these 357 Magnums do on bowling pins. They knocked them off the table all right. They shoot these water jugs with the 357 Magnums. Let's see how these 357 Magnums do on a cantaloupe. That wasn't quite as impressive as the watermelon. I got a steel plate down the hill there. Let's shoot this gun slow fire single action style and see if it's got enough accuracy to hunt with. It'll do. Okay, this Smith and Wesson is a little bit different than the original Model 19. And this gun has been reviewed to death by some guys really doing some good technical reviews. I don't want to go that deep into it. I just kind of want to hit the highlights, you know, the major differences. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the number one thing about this gun is this barrel. It's a two-piece barrel. It's a sleeve barrel, and that's a stainless barrel inside a blued shroud. Now, that's 4¼ inches long, where the original was 4 inches. Another thing about this is the forcing cone right in here is beefed up from the original. It's round all the way. The original had a flat spot on the bottom. And by beefing this thing up, they're telling us that it can handle a lot more full power 357 Magnum loads. You know, the original one on this K-frame, a lot of people talked about, you know, it was great for shooting lots of 38s, but kind of limit your 357 Magnum use. And what they're saying is, you know, you can really put the 357 Magnum rounds through this gun and not worry about it. So I like that a lot. The cylinder lockup is another thing. You know, it's not locking up on the end of the ejector rod. It's locking up here on this yoke and this detent. So that's a neat idea. Of course, all the old-time Smith and Wesson revolvers had the hammer-mounted firing pin, and Smith and Wesson hadn't done that in a long time. Just like all the others, this has got the frame-mounted pin. The grip frame on this is rounded. These are square butts, but it's a rounded grip frame. But you can put rounded or square butts on it. The original had a square metal grip frame on it. Probably, in my opinion, when I just look at this, the thing that really lets me know it's not the original Model 19. The originals had more of a swoosh right here under the hammer. In the frame, it kind of went in a little bit, where these are a little bit flatter. You know, that's not a bad thing, but that to me is one of the major things that I notice. It does have MIM parts, just like Ruger and Colt and just about everybody else. So, you know, all I got to say about that is they've come a long way with these MIM parts. So they're not what they were when they came out, and so far they're seeming to be pretty durable. I've done a few things to this gun. The Smith and Wesson has 3 different rear sight blade heights. It came with a short sight blade, which I did not like. I immediately replaced that with their tallest. And this had the original had a black outline, had no outline, I'm sorry. I ordered the tallest rear sight with a white outline. I can just pick that up better. It's got a ramped front sight with that old plastic insert they have always had. I painted a little orange paint on there so I can see it better. But this gun, I'm telling you, it's not exactly like they used to build them, but I'm really happy with it. I put a few hundred rounds to this thing, and it shoots pretty good. This particular gun weighs 37.2 ounces. It's got walnut grips, which I think are one of the prettiest parts of this gun. I really like these grips. I've got big hands, and, you know, I thought when I ordered this I would just immediately replace them with round butt grips. But these grips just, you know, they really fill my hand, and, you know, they feel great while I'm shooting it. When I've measured the trigger, now I've got the strain screw as tight as it'll go. You know, I haven't backed off any of it because it's more important to me that this gun be reliable than it's got a good light trigger. But like I said, I've got the strain screw tightened all the way up. The double action pull on this gun is averaging 11.3 pounds. That's a little bit stout. You know, if you wanted to replace the springs, you could do that, but that's what it is. The single action trigger pull is 4.6 pounds. That's a little bit stout too, but it is crisp and it does break like a glass rod, so I like that a lot. I got this Smith and Wesson for a couple of reasons. One, I like to shoot a lot, and I wanted a gun that I could shoot a lot of full house 357 Magnums out of and not worry about damaging an old classic gun. And you know, I just wanted to really put this gun through the paces and use it. Another reason I got it is I spend a lot of time outdoors. You know, I like to fix fence and cut firewood and hunt and ride four-wheelers and just be out on the ranch all the time. So I wanted a lightweight steel gun that you know, I could shoot, you know, and practice with in a defensive revolver capacity, but also being outdoors where I could shoot a hog or, you know, deer hunt with it, or, you know, just use it for a million other things. It's light and it's handy. You know, it's just something about being outdoors with a blued steel revolver is a little bit different to me than a plastic gun. So I like that fact. I've got a DeSantis holster for this thing, and it's just the old DeSantis Speed Scabbard. And this gun, you know, with a good gun belt on there, I can wear this all day, work, do whatever, ride the four-wheeler, and honestly, I don't even know I've got this thing on. It just kind of melts into your body, and it's really comfortable to wear. Now this Smith and Wesson Model 19 is not like the originals, but you know, that doesn't mean it's a bad gun. In fact, it may be just as good. I've shot this thing, and I will say this, it handles just as good as the ones I've had, and it shoots just as good. So it may not be the real deal, but I'm really happy with it, and it doesn't have the internal lock. I think it's well worth the money. You know, I had my doubts whether these new Smith and Wesson revolvers were any good. After this review, I know this is a good one. If you don't own a blued steel revolver, get you one. I'm telling you, there's a whole lot more fun to be had with one of these things if you've never shot a revolver. I like it. I highly recommend you get one. Matt Boyette here with Buckhorn Hill Outdoors. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.